You're watching WRKM Channel 22, number one in the region. Good evening. I'm Ralphie Martinez with In Darkness. Still at home edition, as we still mourn the loss of Sammy. Stan, the Stan is still on leave, and we will respect that. But if you're an audio-only listener, you have no idea what's been going on video-wise, but you should be watching the video. Listen to it first to make sure you like it, and then go watch the video with your friends, with your wife if you have one. I can make for good Friday night, Saturday night, date night, dinner possibilities. Order a pizza, listen to Ralph for an hour. I watch podcasts on date nights. My girlfriend falls asleep, but I'm having a good time. Maybe that's what matters. A lot's going on in the world, as always. Clearly, I have survived the New York smoke. If you heard last week's episode, I quite enjoyed living in an orange world, but we live in a very different world today. One of our sacred institutions is involved in some nefarious things. It would seem that the morgue of Harvard has been selling body parts. We go to a audio of, because video, they flag it now, of ABC News reporting on this very, very horrifying story.
Is it real? Yes, he was already passed away, but still.
This morning, the daughters of a New Hampshire sheriff's deputy who passed away in 2019 say they're horrified to learn their father's body was part of a grotesque criminal scheme at Harvard University. FBI agents yesterday arrested this man, Cedric Lodge, for allegedly stealing and selling dissected human body parts while he was manager of the morgue at Harvard Medical School. Investigators say in a scheme dating back to 2018, Lodge stole heads, brains, skin, and bones from cadavers donated to the school for educational purposes. He then allegedly brought those parts to his home and, with his wife's help, sold them for tens of thousands of dollars.
Who could do something like that? What kind of person? No respect at all for the family. They need to pay.
Do you have anything to say to the families? No.
Buyers identified in the indictment include Katrina McLean, owner of Cat's Creepy Creations, a Massachusetts store that advertises creations that shock the mind and shake the soul. Officials say she and others were allowed to enter the morgue and choose what they wanted to buy, some items selling for hundreds of dollars each. In one case, skin that was sold was allegedly made into leather, and a PayPal account.
Now, this guy and his wife were selling body parts. Okay. We used to call that, it was grave digging back in the day. But back in the 1800s, that was the way a kid could make a quick dollar. You happen to find a dead body in the streets of New York back in the old 1800s during the gangs of New York days. You pick him up, you bring him to a laboratory. They paid you well. It was for science. Now, granted, these bodies were already dedicated to Harvard for the idea of performing scientific experiments, learning more about the human body, what kills it. But in this economy, they should be doing a bit more. Most people cannot afford transplants. Most people cannot afford to have better body parts than what they have. Some want to use body parts for great art. Is that not a market we should be thinking about? I know there are several body parts I'd like to purchase for myself to add on to this body you see here. You can always be making upgrades. Why go to the gym when you can buy a new torso? Put my head on it, baby. Now I'm muscular. But we're never going to be able to do that unless someone on the black market is testing these things out. Apparently, this guy was selling heads to people, and his girlfriend, Kat, was making some amazing artistic pieces. Is she wrong? Is her art wrong? I don't think so. It's an expression. Certainly using someone else's body. Certainly a bit cringy. Probably a bit more than cringe. But I think her artistic prowess needed to be seen. And how else was she going to be able to make leather, really good leather pieces without human skin? Would you rather have killed pigs? Other animals? Do they not feel? Do they not think? It's a slippery slope, isn't it? Let's go back to ABC News and consider more of this story.
From one client allegedly included a transaction labeled Head Number 7. The deans at Harvard Medical School calling the allegations an abhorrent betrayal. But for the families involved, their trust has been lost. The family of that New Hampshire sheriff's deputy say his wife died earlier this year. Her body was also donated to Harvard. Her daughters now want her body returned.
She's down there. And we want her back.
The morgue manager and the alleged buyers face charges including conspiracy and interstate transport of stolen goods.
See, even they're announcing here that they're going to face crimes of stolen goods being transported across state lines. So even they look at the body as a product. Are we not giving our bodies every day at work from 9 to 6? Are we not selling our bodies every day? Why not be more valuable in death, I ask? Certainly more valuable to someone who needs a new pair of legs as opposed to it being studied. Now, I want this recorded. If I happen to die early, I have a pretty decent leg. See this here? See this right here? This calf is what we call in the industry biblical. It can walk 8 miles at a moment's notice. Got Puerto Rican thighs as well. I've also just revealed that I record this podcast in my pajamas. A little embarrassing, but I am a believer in these legs. And if I happen to die early and someone is in need of legs, take them. They should be sold to the highest bidder because these are premier legs. Now you're probably saying, now hold on. You sprained your ankle twice this year. These are damaged, used legs. I could think of them as well worn and well tested. These are the Jeep Grand Cherokee of legs. And I want someone to have them in the event of my untimely death. None of my organs are worth anything. My diet has destroyed all of them. There's probably not really any of them that's particularly the healthiest. My kidneys, I think, are fine. Take a kidney if you like. But at this point, with the economy as it is and insurance companies rejecting almost every kind of surgery, transplant imaginable, you got to go to the black market. When I need a phone charger, I don't go to the Apple store because they overcharge. I go to the 99-cent store. Should we just outlaw 99-cent stores? No. The Chinese have been bootlegging several things for years. Why not bootleg some transplants? I used to love picking up my old Jay-Z CDs from the Chinese bootleg man. Why not get a bootleg heart? A bootleg brain? We wouldn't be selling these things if there wasn't a market for it, and we should be asking, why is there a market? People are broke. People don't like their bodies anymore either. I wonder if he was able to sell any dicks, because some people do want dicks now. So would people go, you know what? It'd be easier if I bought already a used dick. I know it works. I don't think people should be against it. It certainly, you know what you're getting. You know, it's less evasive. It's more of an add-on. But Harvard should not be disappointed in their morgue worker. They should be giving him a business degree. You know how hard it is to get a Harvard business degree? This guy's an entrepreneur. He was thinking outside the box. He was like, look at these people. They're working themselves to death. Technically, my profit. There's got to be new ways of thinking about things. Canada is making a killing off fucking assisted suicides. Why not sell their organs? Now some would say, but Ralph, these people donated their relatives' organs to be used for science and in a humane kind of way. But to be fair, if you're donating somebody's body, did they really have a choice? 'Cause I have a feeling some of them didn't. If like some of them were like, you know what? Joyce never mentioned this in life, but fuck Joyce. We're going to give her away because we can't afford to bury her anywhere. That's what it just feels like. It feels like they're just pushing off the cost of burial. They're like, ugh, we can't afford this right now. Can we donate her? Will they give us a kickback for that? Is it a tax write-off? Because let me tell you now, there's a few relatives that if donating their bodies a tax write-off, I'll be doing it. I'll be doing it. Don't like many of them. But also Ralph needs some money. I just think before we judge this couple too harshly, we should look at the art. Now her account's private now, so we can't look at the art. But I'm sure she used those bodies in a respectful manner to produce great works of art, and sometimes sacrifice, maybe not on her part, on someone else's part, is needed to create brand new things. My legs, as a pair, I am willing to sell them. And this is a steal. $15,000. $15,000. There are a bunch of you out there who lift weights, have great upper bodies, Adonis upper bodies, but you can shit legs. I can be your legs. My legs are good. If you're a cannibal who wants to eat some legs, I've got some meaty legs. I can make you happy. There's at least, I want to say 8 burger patties in this leg, each leg. 8 burger patties. If you work the thigh, now you got some hot dogs. So if I die around July or early or late June, you got me for July 4th. Just don't tell anyone you're serving them me. This is how we should be thinking. How can we be making money in death? Because we certainly won't have enough money when we're alive. At least we might be rich in death to whoever gets it after that. Maybe my kid will get it. Maybe my kid will go look at my dad and go, listen, love my dad, but there's some real good shit stuff in there. Let's see what we can get out of it. My ears are pretty good. I have some pretty good ears. I can hear very well. I can hear things actually pretty well from a far distance. You might want them. My nose, I don't smell things very well. There could be a full-on gas explosion I wouldn't even know. Though there was that one time where, in this very apartment building, I smelled smoke in the middle of the night and saved another apartment's life. Saved an old lady. She had left something on the stove. Had I not woken up, who knows what would have happened? So my nose might be Not the greatest nose, but it does do some things every now and then. A broke clock is right twice a day. You don't want my torso. There's nothing of value here. Nothing. If you want my hair, good luck with that. This is all genetic, baby. I'm never losing this. Both my grandfathers had their hair at the end. For you baldies out there who end up losing their hair, fuck off, all right? You can't get this. This is all homegrown. Take my brain if you want it. They took Jeffrey Dahmer's brain. I don't see why my brain can't be worth anything. Sure, it's got a bunch of cysts on it, but it gives it character. My lungs, well, I had asthma as a kid, so I don't know if they're worth anything. My intestines gotta be worth something. I've eaten so many different kind of foods. Maybe there's something to discover down there. Weird microbes that have been created for the first time. See, you have to be thinking about your body as more than just what gets you through life. Is it going to get you through death? Will it pay for your eventual funeral? Because in the future, no one will be able to afford them. We will all be living in a Mad Max future where there is no water. You'll have to be left where you are. But maybe some organic mechanics can go, okay, I will give your family 4 bottle caps for that liver. And maybe he knows how to do something with it. You gotta think long term. This was a long-term investment. And to be honest, there are 2 businesses that will never go out of business. Laundry and death. So he technically put himself in the most money-making situation he could possibly put himself in. And I approve of that. Everyone's going to have dirty clothes. Everyone's going to die. We've made birth optional now, so can't really rely on that. But death is definitely guaranteed. Why not be making money off it? Funeral homes do it. Now, one would say they're putting on a nice show. They're putting on, a nice grieving situation for the family that needs it. But I say, sell the organs, sell the body parts. Now, say you don't want the whole leg, right? Like, all right, so say you're concerned about the ankle. I've twisted twice this year. Say you don't want that. I'm willing to drop the price from $15,000 to $12,000. You don't need the ankle. You get everything else. And someone will have to figure out a way to graft the foot to the calf. But that's not my problem. I'm only a supplier. I don't do installation. What body part would you want to buy? You want to buy toes? You want to buy toes? Interesting. For grip? You want the big toe? Oh, you gonna put them on your thumbs? God damn you, Bobby. He's thinking about being a Spider-Man. You see, every now and then Bobby tosses one where you're like, whoa, Bobby. I wouldn't mind having toes for thumbs. Or thumbs for toes. You know what I mean. Big toes for thumbs. That wouldn't be bad. Because I feel like thumbs, these get achy, but the big toe never gets achy. Unless you have gout. Then you should probably stop drinking soda so much. But, dun, 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 dun. Why is Miles Morales the only person that gets to genetically change his body? I guarantee you, if Miles Morales, his body went on the open market, I'd be buying quite a few things from Miles Morales. Primarily, his arms, kind of like my arms. See these? Like, oh, so my arms, I don't think you want these. Little flabbies. Though they're capable of carrying big things, but I don't think they're sexy. Unless you want to drain the fat out of them, that's up to you. See, that's another thing. Say you don't want these legs to be that big. You don't want the muscle. You can drain some of the fat out. There's ways of working it. I want to make you happy and a better walker. I can walk 8 miles like that. 10 if I'm feeling up to it. I could have walked with Jesus. Never heard of a fat apostle, did you? Maybe that's why I need it. Maybe that's why I need to lose this weight. I need to go back and live my life biblically. No technology, no nothing. Just walking everywhere. Shalom and all over the place. I don't think they sold organs back then. The Egyptians did put organs in sarcophagi. Big word for a Latino. They just put it in sarcophagi to, make sure their pharaoh will be able to pick up their organs and put it back in, I guess. Or because they were godly organs. But don't you want your organs to feel that way too? And the only way they're going to feel that way is unless someone else has them. Somebody's trash or somebody's body trash is another man's treasure. Whether you got a bum knee, a bum shoulder, consider selling other parts of your body for the good of humanity. I'm doing it. Doing it right now. On sale. If I die. On sale. Look at these calves, bro. That's premier calf. That's grade A calf. There are football players who would kill for this kind of calf. There are running backs in this league who would kill for these calves. There are wide receivers with chicken legs out there who would want these legs. If you want them, you'll have to kill me for them, dog. Imagine that's a movie. Like, this guy has like one body part that everybody wants, and he's got John Wick his way through it because I gotta have his legs. He's got these great legs. Or you kind of do like a Running Man scenario where all these people are put into a competition of life and death, and people are like, I gotta get these organs, and people are rooting for guys to die because someone needs their lung or someone needs their heart. That's not a bad movie. It wouldn't get made. It would be on Netflix. It could be. It would be like a B movie on Netflix. I'm gonna write this one down. I'm gonna talk to the Revolution, executive producer of this podcast. We might have a film on our hands, kids. To the families whose relatives were sold, I'd be devastated because it's not originally what I intended, but I would be trying to get my money back. So I would find who bought them, sue him first, then sue the supplier, and now you're receiving the money. Sue Harvard. And to be fair, maybe it was the best thing for him to sell those bodies. You don't want them being infected with the woke mind virus, bro. We have to get back some of our conservative listenership because I kind of railed against Red Pill podcast recently and how they want to control women all the time, and the numbers dipped. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think the West was falling because women wanted the balls to do whatever they wanted to do, or they wanted balls? Sorry. That's life. Sometimes women want balls, not your balls. Now they want their own set of balls, but times are changing. This is a progressive podcast, I think. Progressive podcast. But families whose relatives were sold are not the only people looking for retribution. The orcas, the great killer whales, are now looking for retribution. A group of orcas have attacked and sunk vessels off the Iberian Peninsula. We go to this story from the PBS NewsHour, which I know, granted, WRKM is it's a public service network, and we probably shouldn't be doing anything with PBS, but I've gotten clearance.
For a boat to a client as a professional.
Let's rewind that and hit play again.
Of damage to boats off the Iberian Peninsula, raising questions about why the orcas are doing it. Stephanie Sy looked into it and has this report.
In the middle of the night last October, Artur Napolial was sailing miles off the coast of Portugal to deliver a boat to a client. As a professional skipper and sail instructor, it's a journey he's taken many times before.
At 4 o'clock a.m., it was my turn to go sleep. So I went down, I start taking my nap, and 30 minutes later, boom.
He ran up to the deck to find the boat surrounded by a pod of orcas.
They messed around for 5 minutes, and then they went to another boat, more far away from me, like 1-2 miles.
But the pod returned, not once, but 3 times, the visit spanning over several hours, well after sunrise.
I got really scared.
I like how the orca's first tactic is to spray water at you. A diversionary tactic. They say orcas are actually highly intelligent. They're one of the most intelligent animals in the world. I saw a video recently where they were able to communicate with dolphins by mimicking their frequency, their high and their low. So they were able to communicate with the dolphins by mimicking them. Maybe this is a Planet of the Whales situation. This is how we first find out the whales are thinking about killing us all.
Until I see the orcas and see their movements and how gentle they were when I stopped the boat.
In the past 3 years, hundreds of boat and orca interactions have been reported off the coasts of Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. According to the Spanish research group GTOA, in 2022, there were 207 reported interactions in the Strait of Gibraltar alone. The strait is a narrow waterway that separates Spain and Morocco, and the meetings are not always gentle. Just last month, killer whales surrounding a boat sailing through the Strait of Gibraltar were met with loud noises, an attempt by the crew to scare them off. The pod rammed the boat continuously for over an hour, managing to remove the rudder. With seawater gushing into the boat, the experienced crew of 4 issued a mayday call and were eventually towed to shore unharmed. In another recent instance off the coast of Spain, 3 orcas repeatedly struck a yacht, causing it to sink entirely after Spanish Coast Guards rescued the crew on board.
We have we are having 1 incident every day.
So now they're attacking in formation. They've been looking at, I think it is, they've been looking at the Navy all these years. They've been, watching all the boats, travel around. They went, all right, those guys travel by themselves willy-nilly, but those Navy guys, they roll in a pack. Why are we not rolling in a pack? That's how we get them. Instead of cannonballs, we spray them and we just ram them until they drop. These orcas have been studying naval tactics since the British were running the seas. This is a deadly enemy. One orca told another orca, and that orca told 4 orcas, and now here we are at naval battle with the orcas, and they're not wrong. If the Japanese had just stopped killing them, they probably wouldn't be that upset. And to our friends, the orcas, we, America, have done everything we can to stop them. We nuked them twice. Maybe not for the orca attacks, but we definitely showed them we meant business. That is the problem. The Japanese keep going. Have you seen their animes? They get weirder and weirder as they go. And they gotta have that fresh orca meat. Free Willy was a fantastic orca. He made friends with that little white boy, which I always thought was a little interesting, how killer whales are black and the kid in that movie was white. And it's almost like, oh, well, really? We're doing that? Why couldn't it be a beluga whale that was white? Why'd it have to be a black whale? Kind of racist. Kind of racist, if you ask me. But that was Hollywood back in the 90s. A lot of racism. Apparently a lot of racism today, too, depending on who you ask. But are the orcas wrong? No. They're not wrong. They're creative. But they're not the only animal striking back either. Like I heard a recent report of monkeys killing dogs because one dog had killed a baby monkey. And then these monkeys who saw it were then not only got their revenge on that dog, was going around to other dogs in the community, taking them to long, like high treetops and dropping them as a sign of, hey, you take one of ours, we take all of yours. So now the monkeys are fucking doing gang warfare. And there's some racists out there going, I would have told you that, you know, and it's like, hey, relax, racist man. That's not this kind of podcast. We're talking about animals here, not human beings. But I guarantee you some racists got a hard on from that fucking sentence. But now they're attacking. The animals are waking up. Dolphins have been raping people for years. The animals are striking back. What are we going to do about it? I don't know. Because I'm ready to sell out to whoever's in charge. If the orcas find a way to come on land and rule us, I'm selling out. There was that video of the whale that engulfed that couple on a boat. I kind of hope he ate them. So they would be a sacrifice to the orcas going, hey man, take what you want. Just take what you want. I'm very willing to allow human beings to be eaten by animals if it means I will be okay. One thing we haven't thought about these orcas. Maybe they're so coordinated because Aquaman sent them. Maybe there's a guy out there who can control fish with his mind. And now he's coming back at us land dwellers for all the horrors we've committed. And he wouldn't be wrong. He wouldn't be wrong. I wouldn't put it past it either. We don't really know what's at the bottom of our oceans. There could be a whole community of sea people, seamen just floating out there, just living their lives willy-nilly, just swimming around looking for a place to live. Little tiny seamen of the sea that can also mind control the orcas. But I'm happy they're fighting back. Apparently they're on the West Coast right now in San Francisco, a bunch of them just hanging out coastside, which tells me big offensive they got planned. If you study them the way you study Ukraine and Russia, it's kind of the same. The Russians went to the border and waited before they attacked. The orcas are doing the same in San Francisco, which, to be fair, it's time for San Francisco to die. It's a hobo paradise, and it's time for it to go. Markets, or at least the malls, are no longer paying their rent because the stores are becoming empty due to all the rampant crime. So maybe it's time for San Francisco to die. Maybe the orcas know something we don't. I am Team Orca. I don't want anyone to get hurt, I guess. But the orcas have a point. It's their time to fight back. And God bless them. Now, the only thing I would ask is, when they do come plowing through, I'd like to be riding one. I'd be like, and I'm like on top of an orca. I don't think they'll win because we have guns and other stuff like that. That's why I'm hoping for an Aquaman scenario. Who's next to attack us? The jellyfish? They've been doing it solo dolo for years. What if they united? Seahorses could be dangerous. The crabs? The lobster? There's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of water animals down there, aquatic animals that we gotta take care of. You know, if Bush was still president, we'd be nuking the ocean right now. Okay? We'd be bombing the ocean. Maybe we should bomb the ocean. Maybe we've been focusing on all the wrong things. You know, how about we stop bombing brown people in the Middle East and we start bombing the oceans? Are these fish, are these orcas not engaging in a level of terrorism? I think they are. And I want it stopped now, become a little concerned. Because I can't communicate with orcas. I'm not the kid from Free Willy. Clearly, orcas only like white kids and not Puerto Ricans. I get it. Subliminal messaging of that movie. So it's on now to the break of dawn. We need a war on the ocean. Because the war on drugs worked out so great. And the war on terror worked out amazing. It is time to declare war on the oceans. Never forget those yachts. Those beautiful, beautiful yachts that were attacked by the orcas. How dare they attack our rich? It's kind of like 9/11 with orcas. Because where the orcas attacked the rich, Osama bin Laden attacked the richest buildings we ever had with some of the, biggest financial firms we had. So it's, once again, it's just 9/11 with orcas. It's the same thing. Our Aquatica must be stopped. Osama bin Flipper. It's terrible. This is not even funny. Well, it's funny to me a little bit. But we got to stop them. These terrorist fish are part of an axis of evil. Of orcas. Of dog-killing monkeys. The third animal has yet to be revealed. It's kind of like the Hulk Hogan heel turn. You know what I mean? You had Scott Hall, you had Kevin Nash. Who's the third man? Who's the third man? Hogan comes out. Oh, he thinks he's a good guy. Comes crashing down and it hurts. And then out of nowhere, he throws Macho Man down and leg drops him. And I think that, the real portrayal that people wouldn't see coming of animals, Pandas are cute, but they do kill. That's well known. Koalas piss on people and give them chlamydia. That's a well-known fact. What would be the third cutest animal that, if given the opportunity to turn on us, it would? Dogs already eat people. Cats are already assholes. What do you think? Otters? Oh my God, dude. The otters. Because they're so cute laying there. And they're chemish. If the otters turned on us, I'd be heartbroken. And they build dams really well too. So they could be destroying our water supply. You got a point there, Bobby. The otters. The otters, orcas. The otters, orcas, and monkeys. These are the three animals we should be worried about. And you know what? You're right about the otters, because the otters are more inland river animals. So if they fuck up the rivers and we can't rely on the ocean because the orcas got that, we're fucked. We need to preemptively start attacking the otters. It worked out in Iraq. We preemptively attacked them, and Saddam's gone now. Otter Hussein must be stopped. This is how it all works, okay? I'm just taking history and learning from it. Unlike the rest of you people who want to save the animals, I see them for the threat they are. There's a reason why we built societies. Animals were deadly. But the otter, with the major heel turn, I think would destroy our sense of self. I think it would. And they have such cute tails. They're just always holding their belly. As if like they're the most relaxed animals. I'm like, hey, man. Are you at home concerned about the otters? You should be. More and more, this future we paint gets darker and darker. Horses always kick people in the face. So we're always aware of the horses. Yeah. But what if, like, legitimately, all these animal uprisings are just a sign of, oh no, they're actually smart. Like, in all the years they've spent time with us, they've learned how we operate. And now they're operating that way. Like they say the octopus is one of the smartest animals in the world. It can literally change its like body to fit into camouflage. You know, it camouflages into the ocean and stuff like that. You can't see it. But they say it's a highly intelligent creature that's capable of figuring out so many things. That's who's fucking working with the orcas. It's the fucking octopus. We are unraveling this shit. It's the octopus. The octopus is smart. So the octopus told the orcas, listen, fuckers, they keep coming after you, but they don't come after me. You want to know why? I'm a boss bitch. All right? They got to come down to the deep to get me. How about you show them you mean business by attacking them first? Holy shit. It's almost like the octopus is kind of a octopus bin Laden. The war on the sea has to begin tomorrow. And this Congress is so weak-willed. AOC, listen to me, all right? You may be good-looking, okay? But that's not going to stop me from saying what needs to be said. If you care about your constituents, you will vote for this war on the oceans. Lauren Boebert, stop asking pro wrestlers if they're your real father. That was a weird one that happened. Apparently a wrestler had to, like an old school from like NWA, had to prove to her, I'm not your dad. Took a DNA test. Which, to her credit, that's pretty wild. She got a pro wrestler to take a DNA test. That seems very difficult. So, if anything, she should be applauded for a pro wrestling first. Matt Gaetz. Now that you're no longer child trafficking, apparently. Support this war. We've got to stop these people where it starts, and that's in the oceans. We must defend the people who attended Bert Kreischer's Fully Loaded tour. Now, I attended that tour this week with my brother and my homie Mike. I never been to a Bert Kreischer show before. Shane Torres was there, fantastic. Rosebud Baker, fantastic. Dan Soder, fantastic. Shane Gillis, the man. Big J. Okerson, dope. Tiffany Haddish, drunk. Thankfully, Dave Attell came after, saved her, and then Bert Kreischer came out, who I was never a big fan of. I want to point that out. I find him taking off the shirt to be repulsive. Gross. But maybe it was a few drinks I had. A little bit of the weed I had. Didn't mind it. I actually thought he was really funny this time. I was actually really taken aback. I was like, oh, I get it now. He is really the Long Island, Florida fun time comic. For people who don't want to think about things and just want to react to things, Bert's there. And I'm not saying his audience is dumb. I don't think his audience is dumb. I just think they just really want a fun time where a George Carlin fan base wants to think about jokes, be hit with something that's a particularly deeper kind of thing. I think he's just a good time guy. He did get us to all sing the national anthem, which I thought was very American, very beautiful. Maybe we should get him to do a tour of the ocean to get them to calm down there. That'll be the USO tour for the war on the ocean. We'll send Bert Kreischer down there. If anyone can chill out the fish, I think it's Bert Kreischer. But I thought it was a fantastic show all around. It's my first time seeing stadium comedy. I've seen it in theaters, but it was like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. If you are listening and you want to go, check it out. I don't think the lineup's going to be the same. I think Shane's only doing New York, but Mark Norman is somewhere on the tour. You can't go wrong with that. Dave Attell, I think, is on most of the East Coast dates. That was fantastic. Dave Attell, to me, still his age, is still probably one of the greatest comics of all time. Like he's my favorite, but I think the way he writes jokes is so beautiful, just so beautiful, and the way he sneaks little mini jokes into them in between is fantastic. So go out of your way to check out that tour. Tickets weren't bad. Especially for where we were sitting. They weren't bad at all. So he does make it affordable for the whole family, I think. If you want to bring your kid, you could bring your kid, I think. I don't know if there were that many pussy jokes. There were probably a few. But, like, you think kids aren't hearing pussy on TikTok? They're using now the word corn to replace porn on TikTok. The things kids are up to these days. I know young people listening to wild ass and posting a wild ass Nicki Minaj shit. I'm like, hey, you're 8. Shouldn't be listening to that shit. Listen to Kids Bop. I'm that old guy now. Even though when I was young, I was listening to nothing but gunplay and gangster shit. I am now the old man who goes, hey, enough of that. You listen to good music, good Christian music. That's how it happens. You get old. But definitely go check it out. I was really happy with it. There's something about watching stand up at that level and watching the best guys do it where you're like, man, like that takes years and you appreciate the years. You know, I think there's a lot of guys out there who just go, well, I'll just get on stage and, you know, I'll just be funny. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. You know, you got to write that shit. You got to mold that shit. You have to bomb. I've bombed before. Bombing is rough, but I also kind of enjoy it because I'm a fucking sick bastard like that. But, you know, it is what it is. And getting a chance, like my brother hasn't been to a comedy show before. I got to take him to it. And you get to see some of the best stand-ups doing it at the highest level. You know, instantly was a fan of Shane Gillis, who is the man. You know, talk about a guy who took a canceling and flipped it into a huge career where he's legitimately considered one of the best comedians in the world today. What a maneuver. What a maneuver. And it's kind of nice to see him reach that because, you know, he got canceled from SNL for saying he said on a podcast years ago using like the word chink. We're saying it. That's the word he used, right? And the person who wrote the article was more offended than anyone else was. Like, everyone else was kind of like, all right, like, not the best thing for him to do, but he clearly apologized for it. I'm sure Bowen Yang had an issue, and he's Asian on the SNL cast. But to be fair, I've got an issue with Bowen Yang. He's just not funny. And if you find Bowen Yang funny, you're a retard. I'm saying it. I don't give a fuck. You're a retard. That's it. I'm never getting on SNL now, and that's fine. I just think, to me, in the first 10 years of anyone's comedy career, you have to let a lot of shit go because they're looking for what's funny to them. They're looking for the limits. And yeah, you know, free speech does have consequence. That's totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. But if the consequence is someone never works again, that's kind of a problem. So thankfully, our boy Shane didn't have to deal with that. In fact, it actually raised his profile. And if anything, was the best thing that ever happened to him. So it was good to see him, you know, being he ended the first half before the intermission. And it was kind of nice to see it, man. It was really nice because that's a dude who writes really well and is legitimately one of the funniest people walking the earth. And there's a mood that I see happening now where comics aren't really getting canceled anymore. They're getting reprimanded in a much more, I think, thoughtful way. But they aren't getting canceled and losing shit like they used to. And I think that's a good place to be in. I think you can educate without taking a person's livelihood. Maybe that's a nuanced view. Maybe it's the incorrect view for some people. But to me, I'd rather someone learn than lose their livelihood. Because when people lose their livelihood, they become something else. They become very bitter, angry, and just they're not a person at that point. There's a big ball of hate. And that doesn't help your cause either because they become resentful. So thankfully, we live in a society now where a guy like Shane Gillis can make the comeback and be one of the top touring acts in the country. I fucks with it. Great tour. Check it out. Check out Shane Gillis if you get a chance. Then again, maybe you might not get a chance to check out Shane Gillis. Maybe Shane might not be coming to your area. Or maybe he knows, like we know, how this one is going to end.